The first time that he's been told to speak French, and he should know better.
He should know better. What are they going to do? Lock down his bank account? Carney did it again. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we have Carney's antics with Air Canada backfiring badly, thinking he could cover up his vacation by starting a scandal with the Air Canada CEO. Instead, all the attention's going back on him now. We got a bunch of other stuff here. Let's jump into this. Starting this episode off, we got a new Nanos poll here. 45.7% for the Liberals, down 1.9%, and 32.9% for the Conservatives, plus 1.8%. Now, what's noticeable about this is how Nanos does their polls and why it's got it broken down here perfectly. So as he says, this is great polling for the CPC when you consider that Nanos, out of the 1,000 people they have roughly on these polls, this one here says 1,024. They cycle in 250 new people and out 250 people, as he mentions here, responses, bumps off the old responses. So essentially they're only adding in 250 new responses to their pool here. So really this is a delta of 3.7% between the Liberals going down, the Conservatives going up, out of 250 new responses. So likely if it was a full new poll, you would see a larger increase than 1.8%. Who knows what it would be, 2, 3, 4%, who knows? But I'm guessing Poilievre's time down in America is going to boost him in the polls here. And Mark Carney going on vacation, just chilling out while Canadians are starving, not a good look. The war in Iran is having effects around the world. We're seeing New Zealand here on track to run out of fuel in 3 weeks. So this is projected out. They have it, middle of May, the beginning of May, end of April, and middle of April. Now you'd expect we should be pushing through a pipeline right now, right? Well, we've got Danielle Smith posting this. Agreement number 2 of 4 of the MOU is complete. Alberta has already demonstrated for years that we can reduce methane emissions while growing our economy. And that's number 2 here. Methane emissions reduced by 75% below 2014 levels by 2035. So this is one of Carney's conditions that she has appeased. They've come to an agreement here, but they are not going to meet their deadline here. This is only 2 of the 4. So they've basically completed half of the MOU. We're almost at the end of the month here. Maybe they come up with another one here in the next couple days. Who knows? Carney's not racing to get a deal here unless he gets his $16 billion carbon capture facility. Then he can roll out net zero carbon credits to profit off of. And while that's happening, we got Melissa posting this. Yikes, Canada's relative productivity has fallen 26% since late 1990s. The red line. Canada's relative per capita output in the third quarter of 2025 was 14% below levels observed in 1997. The blue line, the Canada we once knew, is long gone. Can we recover? I don't know. So this dark blue line here is real GDP per capita, and then this is real GIN per capita, the dotted one, and then labor productivity. It doesn't matter which way you look at this, it's all going downhill. It's been going downhill for a long time now, but it's really getting bad now. And that might be an understatement because we have this in the news breaking. The US is sanctioning and going after organized groups that raise funds and launder money for the terror lord group Hezbollah, which is a proxy of Iran's Islamic regime. As Kirk pointing out here, we've got Canada named in these documents coming out of America, and there's no comment from the Liberal government. Treasury sanctions global network diverting funds to benefit Hezbollah. Today, the US Department of Treasury Office and Foreign Assets Control is designating a network of 16 individuals and entities led by Hezbollah financier and public investment officer Allah Hassan Khamenei. And they go on to name Canada here. We've got Qatar, Poland, Slovenia, etc. We've got Andy Lee digging into this some more here, where we've got logistics company here being named, counter terror lord designation, counter narcotics, Russia-related designation removals. Though this Canadian company here, 7 Cs for international trading and logistics, British Columbia, Canada, additional sanctions information is being sanctioned here. Secondary sanctions pursuant to the Hezbollah financial segments regulations. So Canadian company named in these sanctions. Liberals not commenting on this. This account here, Vivian TMXK, interesting, pointing this out. The sanctioned 7 Seas Sao Offshores shares the same logo as Guangzhou 7 Seas International Logistics China, specializing in China Middle East trade. So the 7 Seas and BC is also rooted in China. I can't verify that, but you can see the logo here, 7 Seas Offshore, and you can see the it looks like the same logo to me. I don't know. And here we go. Yeah, Mark Carney, who cares? He doesn't care. Now, what Carney does care about is the Aga Khan. That's right. Remember, Justin Trudeau went to the Aga Khan Island, broke the law with that one, wasn't allowed to take that paid vacation to his family friend's place. Well, here's the Aga Khan himself paying Carney a visit. This can only mean good things for Canada, right?
It's truly a historic day, Your Highness, to have you here in Canada. Start of a longer visit. Welcome back, I should say, to Canada. You know, there's over 120,000 Ishmaelis in Canada, and they make an enormous contribution to our country, much greater than even that large number, building out communities, entrepreneurship, but also a true commitment to education, to faith, of course, but also to development. And I know firsthand over my career the contribution of the Aga Khan Development Foundation has made throughout the world. And it's a partnership that Canada has enjoyed in the past between our own development efforts and that of your network, but one that we can grow considerably, and part of what we will discuss is...
I'd like to start by expressing my gratitude for your invitation to come and visit Canada, and for your generosity and your time in this moment in which your leadership and Canadian leadership is needed more than ever. So I'm very grateful to be here with you.
Okay, enough of this nonsense. Leadership of running our country into the ground. Get someone in here on air filter. This room stinks of corruption. As CBC Watcher pointing out, in 2024, 35.8 million from the Government of Canada Global Affairs, representing 27% of AKFC's total revenue that year. As in 20% of the Aga Khan Foundation's total revenue came from us. 2023, 28.5 million. 2022, or prior comparable year, around 24.9 million. Yeah, of course the Aga Khan loves us because we're funding him. This is more foreign affairs ripoffs is what this is. While Carney's sending more of our money to the Aga Khan, Canadians can't eat. We've got this one here. How Canadians are coping with food costs is worrisome. We are seeing a gradual erosion of quality choice and dietary diversion, a quieter form of food insecurity unfolding in real time. This article here from the Gazette pointing out that 34% of households have drawn from savings or taken on debt just to put food on the table over the past year. People aren't going to put up with this. They're just going to leave our country. Food affordability has always been the cornerstone of Canada's standard of living. If that foundation continues to weaken, the consequences will extend far beyond the grocery aisle. The data is clear. The question is whether we are ready to act on it or not. Carney doesn't care. Who cares? Mark Carney's not doing anything about it. This one here showing out sought out more sales and discounts, 44%, spent time searching for better price online, 23%. I mean, this is just sad. We're going to turn into Africa at this rate. And we got Food Professor posting this new data. Nearly 1 in 2 Canadians say the number one factor when buying food right now is the price. Not taste, not nutrition, not the environment. It's the price. Affordability absolutely takes the cake here. And while the Liberals are not helping with affordability, they are voting down these bills that would help get rid of these criminals in our country, properly prosecute them. We got the Liberals voting against Bill C-246, 220, 243, and 242. So we've got an act to amend the criminal code for consecutive sentences for S-word offenses. We've got an act to amend criminal code immigration status in sentencing, second reading, because the Liberals have been abusing that. Anytime they can, they'll keep someone in our country just by looking at immigration status, which is ridiculous. An act to amend Corrections and Conditions Release Act, parole review, and we've got jail not bail, second reading. The Liberals don't care. They brought in the gangsters, goons, and goblins. They don't want to put them behind bars. They need them wreaking havoc to stir up more stuff in the news so they can get away with all their conflicts of interest and dirty dealings. And speaking of dirty dealings, this whole story here shouldn't be a story. We're going to talk about it here because it's just getting ridiculous. So Mark Carney came out and openly criticized the CEO of Air Canada. People are calling for him to be fired because he didn't speak French, like it's some sort of big deal. This report here saying 561 complaints about it. There's another one you'll see here, over 700 complaints of the CEO not speaking French when talking about the 2 pilots that perished. You know, these stories, they're not talking about the pilots and the lives they live and remembering their memory. It's just, he didn't speak French.
We live, as I just said, in a bilingual country. We proudly live in a bilingual country. And companies like Air Canada particularly have a responsibility to always communicate in both official languages, regardless of the situation. I'm very disappointed in, as others are, rightly so, in this unilingual message of the CEO of Air Canada. It doesn't matter the circumstance, but particularly in these circumstances, a lack of judgment, a lack of compassion. Okay,
I have to stop this. Their lack of compassion. This guy is pushing people to the brink. He talks about lack of compassion. Their very agenda is making life so unaffordable. And in these times, they could cut the GST off of all gas across the country, and it would really help right now. They could stop following net zero and start approving pipelines. They could get rid of all their bad laws that are wiping out high-paying jobs in our country. He talks about compassion. And this guy himself was awful at French when he ran for Liberal leadership. The first thing he did, which they don't talk about, almost guaranteed he had somebody teaching him French every single day from the time he decided to run, and probably a couple months past, probably even till now, he takes his French lessons to make sure he can speak French, because when he started, he was awful at French.
As you know, the Committee of Official Languages has summoned the CEO to appear before it. I will follow his comments closely, and comments which I would expect in due course from the board of directors.
They're summoning the CEO to grill him because he didn't speak French, but this guy's got a laundry list of conflicts of interest, more than any prime minister in Canadian history, probably more than all other prime ministers in Canadian history combined. And this guy has the audacity to grill this Air Canada CEO about not speaking French when our own prime minister is ripping us off to make profit.
468 words, 2 were in French. 1 at the start, 1 at the end.
Hello, bonjour, thank you, merci.
That's not the full story. You can see right on the screen there, you can see bonjour. The entire thing had French on the screen. This guy doesn't speak French, so that's why he didn't speak French, but it was in French on the screen, the entire video. Let's just make that clear.
Thank you, merci.
Is that enough French for the CEO of Air Canada addressing a nation?
Today is a very somber day at Air
You can see it right on the screen there.
Canada.
After a devastating plane crash in New York.
I'm very disappointed in, as others are.
In Quebec, it's in French.
And this is so serious that there have been more than 500 official complaints lodged, and the head of Air Canada, Michael Rousseau, has been summoned to testify on Parliament Hill about this lack of French.
After 5 years, he didn't care to learn enough French to, at a moment so important that people would have expected him to speak in their language.
So aside from bonjour and merci, Rousseau's entire video message about the LaGuardia plane crash, which killed both pilots, one of them a French-speaking Quebecer, it was all in English, subtitled.
We know this is a difficult day for everyone.
But Rousseau doesn't really speak French. That's a problem for 2 reasons. One, Air Canada is legally obligated to communicate in both of Canada's official languages.
I think that Air Canada is a private company, but not like any other ones.
Companies like Air Canada particularly have a responsibility to always communicate in both official languages, regardless of the situation.
But the other problem is that this has been a problem for so long.
Comment fait-on pour vivre à Montréal pendant plus de 14 ans et parler un français qui est très approximatif?
So they just go on to attack this guy for not being able to speak French. It's quite sad.
Okay, backstory time.
If you're asking me about my French.
In 2021, when Michael Rousseau was new to the job, he didn't speak much French then either. So that reporter's question, comment fait-on pour vivre à Montréal pendant plus de 14 ans et parler un français qui est très approximatif? How does one manage to live in Montreal for more than 14 years and speak such broken French? His answer then?
Can you redo that in English?
Wasn't good enough then, and clearly, critics say not good enough now. Quebec's premier.
Are you going to criticize Carney for his awful French when he ran for Liberal leadership? That's the problem here. You can't have it 2 ways.
Says Rousseau should resign for not speaking French. Air Canada says he wouldn't have been able to communicate such a sensitive message in French. That's why he spoke in English. What do you think?
I think that's fair. If the guy doesn't speak French, maybe they should have had someone from the company release a French message. I think that would have been a good idea. But the criticism here is getting ridiculous because Mark Carney kept Mary Simon in, who doesn't speak French at all, the Governor General. All her job is to go around and do photo ops and events and stuff. She doesn't even speak French. If for someone who's supposed to be this front image of Canada, she doesn't speak both languages, why isn't she being criticized? We got Terry Newman here, National Post, saying it shouldn't be a requirement because it's fully privatized. Then the complaint problem magically goes away. How about that? I mean, Air Canada's a private company. They're mandating them because they're an airline. This gets even dumber, though. There's all this talk about the Governor General, Mary Simon here. She's got 2 accounts, an English one and a French one, that both put out responses. But the main point is Mary Simon was hired and brought on and kept on by Mark Carney, and she can't speak French. So the criticism for Air Canada doesn't hold water here. So maybe she should be fired. Time to campaign for Mary Simon to be fired. And you can see her office put this out in French here. Regardless, she can't speak French, so she should be fired too if he's going to get fired. Maybe they should be bringing in Mary Simon and Mark Carney to testify too. Now this gets especially stupid here, so we got Mario breaking this down here. He had someone send him this clip where they called his office in Nepean, and guess what? No French.
Thank you for calling the constituency office of the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Member of Parliament for Nepean. Our office is open from Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are only able to assist residents living in the riding of Nepean. Please stay on the line, and a member of our team will be happy to assist you. We appreciate your call and look forward to helping you.
There's no French when you called in on his line. So should Carney testify now and be brought in front of the House and get grilled for not representing Canada? Mario here, he called them later on, and now they've changed it because of the backlash.
Inscription du très honorable Mark Carney, député de Nepean. Our office is open from Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Notre bureau est ouvert.
It's funny, they started with French now, just to make a point.
Du lundi au vendredi.
Our Prime Minister just lectured us and the whole country on how insensitive it is to not speak bilingual, despite him being the elected official at the highest level in the country. And he himself has a recording that is all in English. He only changed it today when he got called out on X.
Carney's an embarrassment. This guy keeps getting caught out in his lies, his hypocrisy, rules for thee, not for me. It's one embarrassment after the other with this guy. I mean, we've got Jason Kenney here pointing this out. I wait for Governor General Mary Simon's condolence video in French. Yeah, no kidding. That's not coming. Why do the Liberals hold the CEO of Air Canada to the highest standard of bilingualism than their own appointee as Governor General who hasn't learned French after 4 years in the role? We got Blanchette, the bloc leader here, making a big stink about this.
The board of Air Canada should act on it. The government should put all necessary pressure on the board for them to make the only right decision in this situation, and it's to make sure that he leaves.
Why is that so important? Why do you think it's so important for him not to be there?
There's a limit to the number of insults that one is supposed to stand before making a decision.
This is ridiculous. They want him fired for this. This is an insult to the two pilots that just died. They're not memorializing these people. They're not talking about these people. It's all about this Air Canada CEO not speaking French because he can't.
When it comes also to the fact that the president of Air Canada didn't speak French, at the time where we know that a lot of the victims and their families are francophone, knowing also that Air Canada has duties, obligations under the Official Languages Act, I just thought it showed a lack of empathy and a lack of sensitivity. And in that sense, I think it's a question of moral leadership.
Moral leadership, I guess. Fire Mary Simon.
Responsible for official languages is Mark Miller. He, too, on his way into caucus this morning, weighing in and seeming to agree with this decision to call Air Canada's chief executive to Parliament Hill and be held accountable.
I don't want to make political hay over what remains a tragedy with people still in hospital, but this isn't the first time that he's been told to speak French, and he should know better.
He should know better. What are they going to do? Lock down his bank account?
C'est mieux. C'est que la compagnie est tenue à...
And I made the point that the company is obliged to respect the Official Languages Act.
Écoute, Air Canada, c'est une compagnie.
Well, Air Canada is a private corporation.
Monsieur Carney n'a pas de rédacteur.
These guys talk about respecting the official language. They lie to Canadians every day in the House of Commons. They have no respect for either language.
Mr. Carney has no francophone speech writers in his team. What are your comments on that? I have no problem communicating with Mr. Carney and his entourage in French. But should he have French speechwriters as part of his team? You know, the first conversation with respect to the identity of the speechwriters was the one I just had with you.
This just gets more humiliating as this goes on. Carney has no francophone speechwriters. Mary Simon can't speak French. Mark Carney could barely speak French. His office didn't have any French, but they're hauling in the CEO of Air Canada to testify for not speaking French. This is all just to cover up Mark Carney having his bunions rubbed in the Azores Islands and Paris and Rome. They don't want anyone talking about his vacation while Canadians can't afford to eat. They needed something and they jumped on this right away. This is a great take here. I think this is bang on. This has more to do with pandering to Quebec for votes in the upcoming Terrebonne by-election. I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, it's neck and neck here.